Hey guys, this is Chris Fayte with Cheat the Game coming back at you. I know it's been a couple of weeks and everything. It's just been a lot going on. I apologize about that, but trying to get back into the swing of things. Today we're going to be taking a look at Hand of Fate 2, and there's just one thing I want to discuss, and it's kind of a build on from the very last lesson where we used DN Spy with Cheat Engine to get cheats more easily, and kind of use those in combinations to do a lot more things that we just can't do with Cheat Engine by itself. It just opens up a whole new world for you. And so if you have not taken a look at that lesson, I'll leave the link in the upper right hand corner. Go take a look at it. It's great stuff, and it's kind of building off of what we've already done. Today what we're going to do is talk about two instructions that we haven't covered before, and that's define and Readmem. And basically this is the reason why this comes into play. In this particular game here, we're about to play a little mini game called the pendulum. And basically what it is this pendulum swings back and forth, and you got to hit it in specific areas to either win or lose. If you don't hit those specific areas, you lose. And if you do hit the right areas, you win. And basically I'm just doing a quick little cheat just for this one particular pendulum thing, just to show you what I'm talking about. And I've already found this in DN Spy, and bypassing that part, just to get on with it. These are the different sizes of the arcs that you got to hit. Some of these are the bad arcs. If you hit, you lose. Some of them are the good arcs. Here's the one that you succeed. Here's the one that you greatly succeed. It's the smallest one on there. If you manage to target it and hit it, you get the golden prize, so to speak. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm modifying the value that this address is holding, which is a float 2, and I'm going to make it 99. So basically it's taking up the entire pendulum arc, and no matter where you hit the pendulum, it always hits the gold piece. The problem with this cheat, though, is that you see how it is stored. It's loading a float value that's stored at this address, which is a float 2. And it's what it does, it puts it on top of the FPU stack. That's the float pointing unit stack. And it does whatever it needs to do and everything, and eventually it's going to store and pop it back off, later on in the program somewhere else. But right here is where it's retrieving the value for the arcs before the game begins. So we want to modify that before it actually builds the pendulum, for the game, and we have a huge area for our pendulum to hit. The real problem is that, yeah, when I write a code for this, it's going to work fine. However, when I take the game down, bring the game back up, and want to play it again later, and I happen to hit that pendulum puzzle again, this address is going to change, so it's no longer going to be good. And when I restore it back to what it's supposed to be, it's going to restore it to this address right here. And in a brand new game, that address is no longer going to exist for that. That's going to be a whole new address. So if it restores it back to this address, it's going to crash the game. So how do we get it to restore whatever address this happens to be each and every time we load up the game without manually having to go in there and redo it or set it in there manually? Well, that's where Readmem comes into play, and that's what we're going to be doing. Let me go ahead and save what I got, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay guys, thank you. And also I want to thank Benjamin Clements, and also known as Free ER, one of my admins over at the Facebook page as well as the Discord page. I want to thank him, and also Agent Luck, who both of them over the course of time have given me pieces of information in regards to this. And I've just been playing around with it to be able to present to you. Now, I know there's a lot of you game hackers that follow this channel. Y'all know everything about this, and y'all are teaching me stuff all the time, which I think is awesome. Just understand this is for people that have no clue what Readmem is and define is and how to actually use them in a script. So I'm describing it to them like I'd want it to describe to me, which I needed it described to me this way. so I'm an old dog, it's hard to learn new tricks. So please understand. So if you already understand what Readmem and Define do, I mean, you're probably not going to get much out of this lesson. So I apologize about that. If you do not know what it is or how to use them or what they're used for, this lesson is definitely for you, and it's going to be a good one. And it's something that you can incorporate into a lot more cheats that you can use in the future. So, and this will help you out tremendously, because we come across these top things all the time where you got a code or a script or something, and there's some addresses in there that's going to be changing. I can't store them back. It keeps crashing my game. How do I keep that? How do I store it back to the new address without having to go in there and put it manually? Well, this is what we're going to do. And that's how we're going to do it. Alright, so the first thing we do is we just do our cheat like normal. I need to make a new type of value here where it's loading 99 float instead of 2 float onto the FPU stack. So we're just going to do a regular cheat like normal. Since this game uses the mono, we're going to go ahead and use the address, the mono address, to help us out, so we can just do a regular code injection. That means MonoDataCollector needs to be launched for this to even work. So we have already got a code already to activate that. I already have it, must activate for cheats, and here it is right here. And I'll be happy to put that down in the description if you like it. This just launches MonoDataCollector, and we got a condition in there. If it's not launching, it'll just show an error that it can't launch. Alrighty, so the way we normally do it is I don't need the float 2 stored there. I need a 99 stored there, so I need to create a new label, and I need to name it something, and I'm just going to call it my float var, which is my float variable, just so everybody understands what this is and what it's doing. And I'm just going to put it in the same script, so that since we're not going to use this outside of the script, we don't need to register a symbol for it. Thanks, Ben, for telling me that. I did not realize that at first. So I thought if you used the name, you had to register a symbol, so I appreciate you straightening me out on that. And we're going to declare a D word as float 99. Alright, so now we don't need this address anymore as far as our cheat goes. We need whatever this address is going to be. So it will assign it this spot in memory, and it will assign it an address, and that'll probably be different every time too. Whatever address it is, we assign a symbol to it, and it's always going to be storing 99. So it's always going to be loading our 99 float. With the brackets around it, it means the value of whatever this address is holding, which is 99. Alright. Knowing that little bit of information is going to help us to understand what comes next. Now here is our problem, just reiterated one more time. We have this address right here. Let's go back to it. This is our mono address. I'm going to click off of it so you can see it better. And here is the instruction at that address. The instructions are these bytes. Okay, they're the same thing. That's why it says alternate down here. If I replace this right here, it's going to restore it back the same way. It's the instructions in byte form. That's all that is. Here's our problem. This address, the next time I bring the game up, is going to change. It's going to be a completely new, different address that's holding that float 2. So if I go back and turn off my cheat, and I have it restoring it back to this, it's going to restore that old address in the new game, and it's going to crash our game. That address isn't going to be used for that anymore. It's going to be used probably for something else, if it's used at all. And you can see here that these bytes actually has that address in it. It reads it from right to left. Alright, you can look up India in this, and that'll explain to you why a lot better than I could. But it's the address 56BC D5D0. Take a look. 56BC D5D0. Those bytes are going to change right there the next time I bring the game up. So I'm needing it to store all these bytes. The D905 is the FLD D word pointer. Okay, so that's the instruction right there, and instruction for this address. I need it to store these bytes, and then I need to retrieve those bytes later when I turn off my cheat. Even if they have changed, if I brought up a new game and these are different bytes, I need you to store those different bytes. So we can always do it. The first thing I like doing Okay, instead of using the mono address in my script, I can go ahead and assign it a different name, and that's where define comes into play, and that's what I'm going to use, define. So, and basically that's all it's doing. It's the same function as assigning a symbol to something. Alright, register symbol, we register a symbol. If I register a symbol for this, I can use it outside the script anywhere I want to, because it recognizes that as a symbol. This also does basically the same thing. Okay, define, and I can make up any name I want. I don't care what it is. I'm just going to name it Pin Addy, like that, Pin Addy. Pendulum address that I'm changing, basically. And we're having it recognize it as this address. So anywhere I use this name in the script, it's going to recognize it as this address. And you can use define for anything. You can use it for an array of bytes, you can use it for other addresses, you can use it for instructions, you can use it for just about anything. That just assigns it a name, and that way you can use it elsewhere. And it will always recognize it as whatever you tell it to recognize it as. So in this script, I can now go substitute this name for the address, and it still recognizes it as that address, regardless. So those are the only two places. Alrighty. Now, and basically I just do that to make life a little bit easier for me, because I need to use this in our Readmem. I can still just use this address just fine without having to define it. It's no problem. You can do it either way. It's just easier, more convenient, just to assign it a different name is all. That's all we're doing. Let's go ahead and take this out. Now, we have to do this in a specific order, and here's why. What we're doing with Readmem, it's the new instruction Readmem, and what Readmem does, we're going to tell it we need you to read the memory of these bytes right here, these 6 bytes. We need you to read those and store them in a different place in memory so we can go back and retrieve them later to restore it back to the way they were. It's the same exact thing we did with when we made our teleport. If you remember, if you go back and watch, and I'll put that also in the upper right hand corner, how to make a teleport cheat for just about any game, is what we do is we save our location, then we go wander around the map somewhere else, and then we teleport back to that location we saved it. Well, the way we did that is we had to store the the values of our coordinates somewhere else in memory, and then we go wandering around the map, and then when we wanted to go back to those coordinates, we had to retrieve those coordinates from that memory that we saved them at. And that's how we did the teleport hack. Well, we're basically just doing the same exact thing. We're just storing these bytes, and then later on, when we turn off our cheat, we're going back and retrieving those bytes and placing them back. And that's what Readmem does. That's all Readmem does. Okay, you just tell it how many bytes you want it to remember, and then it will go back and retrieve them that way. So, not to confuse anybody, we have to do this in a specific order. And here's why again. When I run this script, and I'm just going to run it like normal right now. I'm going to go ahead and assign it to the current cheat table. We're not going to do Readmem right now. I'm going to show you what happens. When I turn the cheat on, let me go ahead and label it so everybody knows that's it. And this is the Readmem pendulum. There we go. This is the one we're working on right now. That's the one I just saved. I'm going to turn it on, and you'll see a jump form to allocated memory. Boom. Right here. Now it's jumping to allocated memory. These bytes have just changed. Okay. Now it's going to jump to our cheat, run our cheat, and then it's going to jump back and pick up where it left off. So here's why we got to do the read memory in a specific order. If I do it after I've allocated memory for the new mem, it's going to read these bytes and store these bytes. And when I restore it, it's not going to really do anything because I'm having it restore the bytes that's already there. So I can't have it reading these bytes and storing those. I need it to store the previous bytes. So we have to make it do readmem first before it changes those bytes. Okay? So now that that's said and out of the way, we can go ahead and get on with it. So right above alloc new mem, I need it to alloc our readmem location. We can name our readmem location anything we want. All I'm doing is naming it original 1. There we go. And how many bytes do we need it to allocate for us? Just 6. Just those 6 bytes is all I'm really needing right now. As if you look, jumping to allocated memory takes 5 bytes, and then we have 1 left over. So that's 5 bytes for the jump to new mem that we're going to be using. And we have 1 left over that we need to knock out, which is 90. So I needed to remember these original bytes before I go change them. So I just need you to allocate 6 places in a place in memory that's not being used anywhere. And I need you to allocate spot for me to do me a favor. And what's the favor? It needs done. I need you to, at this location, I need you to go back and read mem. Here's the instruction. Read mem. Alright, where do you need me to read the memory at? I need you to read at pin addy, because I've defined it as this address. I need you to go to this address right here and read these 6 bytes. And I need you to store them here. Let me make sure I'm spelling things right, or it's really going to screw things up. Original 1, original 1. There we go. Okay. So original 1, the place I called in memory, I need you to go to what I've just defined as pin addy and read those 6 bytes and store them here. And that's what it's going to do. It's going to look at that instruction. Okay, I need to go over here. Let me write down these bytes. I'm coming back to this and I'm storing them for you. They're stored. Very good. That's it. That's all you need to do as far as getting it stored. How do you restore them now? Well, that's where we come down here. We need it to go back and retrieve that information. And let me separate these just so you can see. These are different places in memory. You do not want to put it down below new mem. You want to put it above new mem before it's run. If you put it down below, it's going to hook it to new mem. So we want to put it above new mem. Okay? So it's its own little separate thing. Has no association with new mem whatsoever. Alright, so what I need you to do is that now when I close the script, I need you to read the memory at the original 1 location, those 6 bytes, and then I need you to go back and store them back to here, and it will do so. That's it. So if you notice here, I need you to read at this address and store those 6 bytes. I need you to go back to where I just stored them and return those 6 bytes back to where they are. And that's what it'll do in both sections. Okay? You see, that's why we had to put them differently. Okay? Oops, sorry about that, guys. Let me get back to it. Now, there's something I need to do that I forgot to do, and I should have done it previously, and I'm sorry. So hopefully this won't confuse anybody. We do need to register a symbol for original 1, because we are using it outside of its location. Okay, so we're going to need to use a register symbol, and we need to unregister it right here. Alrighty, so hopefully that should be pretty good. Now let's see if it will. Let's turn it on, and it's jumping to our allocated memory, so that means it's run our readmem first and stored the original bytes, and now we've replaced those bytes with our jump to allocated memory. Will it restore it back? And it does. Take a look. But you know, it's no big deal right now, because we could have just used these bytes right here to restore them back, but we didn't. But the good thing about it is that no matter what this address turns into when I bring the game back up, it's always going to restore it back to normal. And let's take a look at that now, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this game in task. Alrighty, let's bring the game back up. and we'll go ahead and attach it to the game. Now you notice you can't hear any sound on it because I got the volume on it turned all the way down, because you know it was just bleeding through with my microphone, even with headphones, and I don't know why. So I just said I'm just cutting off the sound, period. So that's why I don't hear nothing, but I did that on purpose just so it wouldn't get in the way of the instructions. So let's go ahead and continue the game. Alright, and we need to get back to that place in memory. Let's go ahead and first off launch MonoDataCollector, and we're going to go back to this address here. Well, you can hear it a little bit, but not as much. Alright, and here we are, and we're back to where we're going to modify, and take a look right here. Completely different address from last time. Remember, it was 5 something. We can see down here what it was: 56 BC D5DO. Completely different address now. So if we was to use this script and we just left it like that, it would restore that old address and crash us down. But will it work and restore it back without changing anything? I didn't change a thing. We turn it on, we'll restore it back to this address instead. Let's see. Alright, now we got it jumping to our allocated memory to run our cheat, and we're done using our cheat, and we want to turn it back off. Will it restore it back? And take a look. It restores it back to the correct address. Read memory does that for us, so now we have a cheat that works all the time without having to do anything else. We can bring up the game as many times we want. The cheat will always work. And that's how to do it. That is defined in Readmem, and those are the functions it's for. Oh, and right quick, I know somebody's going to say, well, why don't you show us the cheat working? So I'm going to do that right quick. I just need to get closer to where we actually use the pendulum. As you can see, still the same different address. Completely different than what was originally for our script. So here's our original script. We got the Readmem that we just did. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on. And let's go play the pendulum game, see if it works. So, find a way out. I'm going to hit success just to get there quicker. And yeah, I've already got a cheat for cards don't shuffle. Let's just get past this. And we attempt to pick the lock. That's what it is. So we're attempting to pick a lock. And take a look. With our cheat, it completely takes out the little bitty, there's a little bitty golden arc that was right there. It completely takes it out and just puts a huge collision field all the way across. That's why we can't really see the arc, but as you can see, it's not going down to the other arcs, it's just going across that one arc. So anywhere I click select, it's going to automatically win. So I'll even hit a bad arc too, so let me do that. Well, hell, I didn't hit any arc, but see, golden prize right there, and that's the cheat. So alrighty, well, I do hope that helped you, and like I said, we'll be using a lot this a lot more in future tutorials as well. You know, we'll just kind of build on. And if you've noticed, and I have new people starting, please understand, if you're new here, that I am building off previous videos. So go back and look at the cheat engine list I have. Also, past videos. I'm building off each lesson. So I'm just combining different lessons into one, and we're just learning and gaining more knowledge as we go. I'm still learning too, and these guys have been helping me out a lot, and we all help each other out, and we learn together, because it's really hard to get game hackers in the past. It's really hard to find game hackers that'll help you out or give you any information that's worth a hoot to you. You know what I'm saying? They'll try to describe something like you're a NASA engineer or something. You know, I'm not a NASA engineer. Explain to me like you're trying to explain it to a 2-year-old. That's the only way I'm going to understand it. So but anyway, I want to go ahead and thank my Patreon partners as well as the PayPal donators. These are my partners, all of them, and they have all the benefits of being a partner. Cheat the Game would definitely not exist without you. Thank you all so much for all you do and donating and helping us keep Cheat the Game going, helping these videos to come out. It's all because of you. You are the ones. Thank you so much. And if you would like to become a partner, go to the Patreon page, or you can donate directly to the PayPal that I'll have down there in the description, and you will become a partner and you will receive those benefits as well. Even if you just donate to the PayPal, I'll allow you access to all the exclusive stuff that will be available for partners only, and also any giveaways. Partners have first dibs on those. We're going to be doing a lot more of that, as well as Amazon gift cards, new fresh games coming out, and possibly some computer equipment. So, because I put computers together, that's what I do. And sometimes I get some stuff, say, hey, I got a graphics card here I ain't doing nothing with, let's give it away. I might do that in the future too. So come on over and join us, and you'll have exclusive benefits. Only the partners are going to be in the drawing for that at first. Later on we'll start doing subs giveaways as well. Alright, but that's all I got time for. I'm sorry this kind of dragged out a little more, but I really wanted to describe what was going on so you'd understand it. This is the way I describe things to me, where I understand it. It gets a little complicated and confusing, especially when you're new at it. And but hopefully that helps you understand it a little better. If you have any questions, leave them down there in the comment. I'll try my best to answer them. If you're asking about online game hacking, don't even bother, because I don't hack online games. I don't know. Okay, I really don't. So I'm not going to be able to help you much there. But if you have questions about coding in general, assembly, Lua, or things like that, go ahead and ask away. If I don't know, I'll try to find somebody who does. Great game hackers over at the Facebook channel, as well as Discord and the website where you can go post your questions. And a lot of great game hackers that help me will be happy to help you there also. But thank you all so very much. If this helped you out, please let me know by placing a like on it. It lets me know that you are getting something out of this, that I'm not doing this in vain. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting Cheat the Game. You guys are Cheat the Game, not me, but you guys are. Cheat the Game would not exist without any of you. Thank you all so much. Well, that's all I got time for, so you all take care. Keep on hacking. Most importantly, please enjoy yourself. That's really what it's all about. You cheat the game, fellas, because believe me, it doesn't mind cheating you. You all take care.